Hey folks, it's Mort Orman, and we are getting ready to leave our hotel. Let's see, it is 6:30 in the morning. We're heading out to Nashville today. This is day 2 of our trek from Florida to Washington State. And on the way, we're going to stop and visit one of Christina's old college roommates, spend a couple hours with her. We're also going to try and get our air conditioning fixed so that we get to Nashville in time for this evening. Christina has an 8 o'clock webinar she's leading, so we need to get in, settled, have dinner so she can do that. So I'll talk to you as we progress today. All right, we got a little update here. It's day 2 of our trip to the West Coast, and we had a little bit of a change in plan. We brought our car to this express auto place that does oil changes in 10 minutes, but also does full service and other kinds of stuff. And we got it in here, found out we needed to replace the compressor to the air conditioner that had gone bad. So we had rearranged our plans and had Christina's friend from college come pick us up. She lives about 15 minutes away. We went to her house, spent a nice couple hours there at her house on her patio with her and her husband and her little dog named Pepper. And we had a little bit of lunch there, and then she drove us back. The car is ready now. It's about almost noon, about 10 of noon, and this is one of our short days driving, so we had plenty of extra time, which is why we decided to go ahead with the couple-hour repair. And we are now headed out to Nashville, where we'll be spending the night before moving on from there. So this is a midday update. So here's some of the scenery change with us just coming into Tennessee. Instead of seeing just tree-lined highways, we're seeing tree-lined mountains here. And here's another view over here.
Oh, sorry.
Whoa. And this is the road to Nashville. We're about an hour and a half, 2 hours outside of Nashville. So I'll update you as we move along. Hey there. Well, we made it to Nashville safe and sound, and now I am going to, as promised, talk to you about part of the Life 101 book that I've been carrying with me. Today we're going to go into, and I'm going to review the part 1 of the book, which is called Introduction to Life. And I want to start off with a quote on the first page of this part. It says that our educational system is not designed to teach us the secrets of life is no secret. In school, we learn how to do everything except how to live. So this part 1 is talking about the author's premise that the purpose of life is learning, so that we learn as much as we possibly can, as long as we possibly can, about as many things as we possibly can. So the entire theme of this book is life is about learning. So they address things like how do we learn, what's the best way to learn, what are the teachers, how come we have resistance to learning, what are the lessons we need to learn or the things we need to focus on. So it runs through the entire book. In this particular part, again, they talk about learning, and they say the best way to learn is through doing. So not just contemplating, not sitting in a cave and meditating, although that is doing, is to be active in the world, to be trying things, doing things. He said you learn the best when you're doing. And the idea is to learn to enjoy the process of learning so that you can do it for the rest of your life. They also talk in this part about joy, since they're talking about the joy of learning, and they point out that joy is something that's not tied to circumstances. You don't have to have circumstances any particular fashion or form in order to experience joy. So joy can be had at any time you want, in any circumstance, no matter what's going on. And I think that's a very powerful principle, and I think it's true. So they talk about life being a classroom, that as we go through life, there's many lessons presented to us, but the learning is really up to us. And some people are more attuned to learning, more interested in learning, and more adept at learning than others. One of the things I talk about that is sort of like the antithesis of learning, the thing that's going to stop you from learning, is a closed mind. And I think we can all agree that when you're talking to somebody or interacting with somebody with a very closed mind, there's not a lot of learning going on there. So there's another quote I wanted to share with you in this chapter, or in this part, from John Kenneth Galbraith. And the quote is, "Faced with a choice between changing one's mind and proving there is no need to do so, almost everyone gets busy on the proof." So see if that matches your experience. The other thing they point out in this chapter, which is, I think, really, really important, is that our emotions are frequently wrong. Now, one of the big mistakes, at least from my perspective, that I've seen that people do, is they automatically assume that if they're feeling something, if they have an emotion about something, that emotion is necessarily true. It's pointing them to the truth about life, or about reality, whatever it is the situation they're in. My experience is almost the exact opposite. More often than not, our emotions are not pointing us to the truth. In other words, there's something untrue about whatever's driving those emotions to occur. And that's one of the things that I teach people in my upcoming course, Quick Emotions Mastery. I give them a system for taking emotions like anger and frustration and guilt and worry and fear and sadness, and being able to go through and pinpoint exactly where the untruthfulness driving those emotions may be living. And once they can see that untruthfulness is driving their emotions, they then have the ability to make those emotions rapidly go away, quickly go away, by reminding themselves about what is really true, as opposed to what their body sort of automatically assumed to be true that produced the emotion in the first place. So that's a very, very powerful principle. They talk about it in this first part of the book. They don't spend a lot of time on it. They don't go into it like I just did. But basically, they mainly keep repeating the point that the purpose of life 101, the book itself, the entire book, is to live, heal, learn, and be happier in life through that process. And again, at the very end of the book, as I mentioned earlier, they point out that our senses are limited, and there's a lot going on in life that we don't readily sense or perceive. So therefore, we have to work at it to try to get at various aspects of the truth that don't immediately appear, or they're not very visible. So that's just a quick synopsis of the first part of the book. I think that'll give you some things to think about. And like I said, some of the principles I think are very solid and very important, and that I address in some of my programs, and that you should spend some time thinking about and working on yourself. So that's it for the Life Mastery lesson for today. We had a great day today. We had air conditioning, which is really nice, let me tell you. When you have an air-conditioned car driving in 90, 95 degree weather, it's better than not having an air-conditioned car. So we made it to Nashville, as I said, and tomorrow we're going to be driving for about 6 hours or more to go to Springfield, Missouri, where we have been before, and we'll be staying at the same hotel that we stayed at before, and slowly creeping our way to Washington State. So I will give you a more full update tomorrow.